What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Bottom Line on Sports. Our store, our see, it's been late night for me already. Our show about the intersection between sports and money. He's Jeremy Pink, wide awake. I'm Jean-Jacques Taylor. Been working 16 hours today, so I'm just hanging on. But anyway, you've got a number for us, my friend.
I do. I do. I know you're working hard. You're working on a new book, which is a very exciting project. I can't say what it's about, but it's a very
But
exciting
I'll tell
project.
y'all soon.
Okay. I just got in from Europe, so
Ho, ho,
I'm
ho.
basically, yeah, I know I'm
Fancy.
I'm extremely fancy, and B I'm barely awake. So forgive me up front. The number for this week is 493,000. That number,
Yeah.
according to an article in Front Office Sports, which is an excellent publication, is the amount of money allocated to your boy Mike Elko from Texas A&M for private jets.
Private jets. Now, first off, nobody from Texas A&M has ever been considered my boy. For a big university, I'm just going to take a very quick aside here. They are the whiniest university ever. And you know why? This because they're this huge university, but they're still the University of Texas's little brother. And they'll argue that they're not.
I
You
know.
know how they are? They act like a little brother.
Yeah, Mike Elko is your boy, though. I'm convinced of that. Anyway,
But
493K,
now,
493K on private
now you got
jets.
to
That's
understand, man.
crazy.
He's in College Station, which is out literally in the middle of
Right,
nowhere.
right.
I mean, it's like an hour and a half from Houston.
Okay,
It's
okay,
3 hours
that's
from
fair.
Dallas. And so probably for him he's saving time driving from Houston so he can just get where he needs to go.
Okay, okay. However, is Bloomington, Indiana, in the middle of nowhere?
Nah, I don't think so.
It is.
Or, okay,
Believe
maybe.
me, it is. Uh, Indiana spent or has allocated $42,000 on private jets
42,000.
in total. 42,000.
So they're just flying to Chicago and South Bend.
I don't even think they're flying. Uh,
Can you get a
I don't know
private
what
jet
they're
for
doing.
$42,000? I don't think you can. Seems like they cost like 25, 30,000 just to fuel the thing up.
Well, who knows? I mean, maybe it was 3 trips they took to the West Coast. I don't know what they did. Yeah,
Cignetti's used to being at James Madison.
yeah,
He's used to being at IU, PUI, or PIU, or
yeah, yeah.
whatever that school is.
Too many initials. Yeah,
Yeah, no, exactly. He's
yeah,
used to not having any money.
yeah.
So he probably doesn't even know how to do this private jet thing.
That's true.
He's like an old person messing with the internet. Like, how do you do this thing?
Yeah.
Or since I'm a grandparent, I
Uh-huh.
can't say it, but it's like getting your traditional grandparent to
Uh-huh.
text. And they go, how do you do this thing? I don't know how to text.
Right, right, right.
Traditional. I'm not a traditional grandparent.
I don't think so. Yeah.
But anyway, that seems, man, in today's world, nothing surprises me what athletic departments and universities who scream poor spend their money on.
Yeah.
Because, but at another level, it makes perfect sense to me because we can talk about education all day long. I guarantee you at this time in the fall, when we have a conversation, we'll say enrollment at Indiana is up 75%.
Oh,
Freshman
sure.
applications have been 500%
Yeah,
higher than they've
absolutely.
been.
Absolutely.
Why? It's all because of the football team.
It's
So
amazing.
whatever you spent on Cignetti's $13 million salary and on Indiana football, it was worth it because you are now getting your windfall back. He's been
hmm
paid through admission and tuition. Next year, his salary's already been paid for.
Oh, of course, of course. I'm sure there's a huge number of out-of-state
Yeah,
applicants. They pay full freight to go, for sure.
yeah.
For sure.
It's because you've got name recognition with your football program now, and it seems like a cool place to go. Look how
hmm
much fun they're having. Wow, everybody's talking about Indiana. Hey, I never thought about Indiana before. Who goes to Indiana? Oh, wow, Joe Buck went to Indiana. Oh my God, maybe I want to go to Indiana. I mean, it
Well,
happens to
listen,
every school like that comes out of the blue.
listen. I'll charter a private jet for you to Bloomington. You can go visit. Actually,
Have you ever
Bloomington.
flied? Have you ever flied private?
I
Tell the
have.
truth now.
I have. Have you?
I've only done it one time.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I rarely did it. The
Oh, rarely.
the But if you've ever go to Bloomington, Bloomington is like one of the nicest campuses in the country. It's absolutely beautiful.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to hear your private story. Well, you probably need to hear mine because you probably flew private all the time.
I have a great, I can't tell the story here. I have a great private jet story
Oh,
that made international news that I was involved in, but I can't talk about it. That
guys, I'm
that's
as soon as this show is over,
yeah,
I'm
I'll let you know. I'll
private.
tell you about it afterwards.
Okay, mine is very simple. I think the statute of limitations has run out on mine.
Hmm.
The Dallas Cowboys were playing the New Orleans Saints Christmas Eve, sometime in the late '90s, and the game was at the Superdome. And after the game, we're doing all the interviews, and we're in it. And that 25 years ago, there weren't 1,000 people around Jerry Jones at the end of the game. It was more like about 10. And so he asked the beat writers. He said, "Hey, you guys getting home for Christmas?" We're like, "No, we're all leaving in the morning." He goes, "I tell you what, me and my family about to go home to Dallas. I'll send a jet back for you, and you guys can take my jet home."
Wow. Wow.
That's what I said. Wow. And so that's what happened.
Now
We
you're allowed to accept that working at the
I
Dallas
just said the
Orioles?
statute of
Oh, yeah, I
limitations
see.
had
I see. All
expired.
right. All right.
So since I haven't worked there in 20 years, and
Okay.
so we all went and finished writing, turn your stories in, and then went and caught a cab to whatever field they were flying out of, and took Jerry Jones's private jet back to Dallas. Now the
How
tricky part was it landed at Love Field, which is not Dallas Fort Worth Airport, which is where we all left from.
uh-huh.
But still, you're home Christmas Eve, so you
That's
just take a cab. We all took
that's
cabs to the airport, picked up our cars at the airport,
that's great. That's
drove
that's
home.
actually that's actually that's a great story.
Yeah,
Uh
now we weren't supposed to do that, but the reality of it is, dude, who's you can get home and spend Christmas morning with your kids and your family. I mean, come on, man, stop it. And it's not they got their ass kicked that night, so it's not like we took it easy on them.
You're right.
You know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah.
So, but no, that was a great gesture from Jerry, and it's the only time I flew private.
Uh-huh. And did you like it?
Oh, I loved it.
Well,
All
you
the
never.
drinks and snacks I could eat. It was
Yeah, well, there you
fantastic.
go. There you go. If your book's a huge seller, you never know. You could be starting to fly private next year. You never know. So,
Yeah, yeah.
hmm.
Let's see about that.
Yeah, right. Because books bring in such huge money. So, it's
Well, depending on who's writing them, and hopefully I can get into that
yeah, yeah,
category.
yeah.
Uh, and then we can make it happen from there. On that note, let's talk about the NCAA tournament. There's been some great stuff going on with that. That buzzer beater. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot.
I
you
wore I
know,
wore I wore
Jerry.
my Duke fleece in solidarity with Duke. Fortunately, I was in Spain when it happened. I didn't see it happen live, and
You know,
it
well,
was. I'm so happy. Yeah.
let me tell you a very quick story. As a veteran sports writer of more than 30 years, I have been conditioned over 30, and really more than that if you include college. I've been conditioned to go to games and just watch it. Like
Hmm.
when I go with my kid, he'd be jumping up and down, and I'd just be like watching it.
Yeah.
So very few things excite me or get me to have a reaction. Even now, and I'm a little lax now. But man, I was in my office doing some work, working on this book,
Hmm.
and I got the game on, but I'm not really watching. Now it's the final seconds or
Oh yeah.
whatever.
You actually sent me a picture of that, right? Yeah. So right.
I looked,
Yeah.
and at the end I go, oh, and my wife is like, "Are you okay? What is wrong with you?"
It was the most amazing. If you watch it, like five things, six things had to go exactly right in order
Yeah,
for that to happen. It was shocking. You know where? Do you remember where you were? If you weren't, now I was at Duke for the
Christian Laettner.
Christian Laettner thing. Now I didn't watch that live either. I was at a dinner in Washington D.C. and I was at a dinner that was going late, and I remember sitting in the restaurant and going, I gotta watch the Duke game. I don't even know what the hell's going on. So I walked out and I went to a bar. They had a TV at the bar, and I stood at the bar, and the only thing that I saw was the last play of Leitner. So I saw the Leitner thing live. That's the
Wow.
only thing I saw of that game live.
I don't know. I remember the play. I don't know where I was. I will give you my Christian Laettner connection. He and my brother went to the same high school,
Oh,
5 years apart, I think, or
oh.
maybe 10 years apart.
Yeah.
But they went to the same high school in Buffalo.
Hmm.
There you have it. Here's my Christian Laettner story.
Hmm.
Uh,
Great college player.
yes.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, how come he didn't work in the NBA? I mean, he
I
had a long
mean,
career, but he
yeah,
was
I
kind
mean,
of just a guy in the NBA.
he was, he was, so the expectation of him being a superstar in the NBA didn't happen, but he was like a 15 and 10 guy. I mean, he's a good
Oh,
player.
see, I didn't even realize he was that
Yeah,
good.
something like that. I may be overstating it a bit, but he was totally fine in the NBA. He was just, it's sort of like,
He was just
one,
something let a cuss word.
yeah, and everybody disliked the guy. It's kind of like, again, I mean, not to veer off topic, but like one of the most underrated basketball players I think of of my lifetime is Rick Barry, and he's underrated because everybody hated him. But you actually watch him play,
But he's fantastic.
it was fantastic. Isaiah Thomas,
He
extremely
used to be people
underrated.
loved, but now he's hated.
Yeah, but he, he's almost erased from the last 50 years, and he's one of the best players. One of the
So
best point
at
guards.
27 points he scored in the third quarter on one ankle against the Lakers in the playoffs.
No, he's remarkable. So, but anyway, but it's amazing how whether a player is liked or disliked impacts the memory of him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's
As a friend
remarkable.
of mine says, it's amazing who America chooses to forgive. Oh, he
That's
says this all
exactly
the time.
right. Yeah,
But and then when you start thinking about it, you go, you got a point there. It's amazing who we decide they're really not that bad.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
and those people we just go, oh, that guy sucks, throw him away.
yeah,
NIL payments.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, we have a topic we're supposed to talk about too. Yeah, I forgot
hey
about
man,
that.
it's our show. We can go
Yeah,
where we
I know.
want
We can
to.
do whatever we want.
Where do you want to go with this? Like Duke is at the top. I'm not surprised. They're at
Yeah.
12 million for
Well,
NIL.
what we did is we found something that found the top 16 the Sweet 16 teams, and
Right.
they were ranked by those that had the highest NIL payments.
So here's what surprised me off this list.
Hmm.
It's the top 16 teams.
Hmm.
I was surprised that UConn's smack dab in the middle at 9.5. I thought they'd be closer to the top.
Yeah, but if you look at it, if you go from like 1 to 8, Duke is at 12 and UConn's at 9.5 according to this data. That's
Right.
not a particularly big spread. It just isn't.
No,
And
but I
it
still given their pedigree. But then I thought, I bet Danny Hurley is a kind who really doesn't want to spend a lot of money in there. And so at one level, I wasn't surprised.
Yeah. Now, outside of the Sweet 16, so this is just the Sweet 16 NIL money. I looked up
Right.
to see the team that spent the most on NIL money this year. Spent the most on NIL this year in college basketball. Do you know who that is?
Who spent the most?
Yep. This is not Sweet 16. This is just of all the college programs.
That spent the most?
By
Kentucky.
but yeah, by a wide margin, 22 million according to what I read.
22 million.
That's the
Oh,
data
that's
that
why
I
they're
just
mad at that coach.
yeah. It's remarkable. But what it shows me though is that Iowa, which made the Sweet 16, was on the low end of it.
Nebraska.
In Nebraska, 4.5, 5 million. But you gotta pay. You're gonna have to pay to have any chance at all to do anything in these tournaments.
Well, that's why the Cinderella has been removed.
Well, exactly right.
It's been
And
removed for two reasons. One, you got to pay, and two, the guys who would have made whatever Cinderella mid-major great, they all got paid to go play at
of course,
Alabama, Arkansas, Ohio State, Michigan, whoever.
of course,
So they're not staying at the mid-majors.
yeah. And you look at the Sweet 16. If you actually look at it, you got Duke, which is a little bit of an outlier in college basketball, but then you've got Arkansas, a large state school, Michigan, a large state school, Arizona, Alabama, Tennessee, UConn, Illinois, Purdue
Wow,
you know what I mean? These are
there are
all
large state
these are
schools.
all large state
Damn.
schools are all that's what it said. That's what I got out of this, which is to say these are the schools that have the biggest alumni basis and therefore the biggest amount of potential money to spend
Yeah,
on
it's
NIL.
just a numbers game. If you got
Yeah.
75, I mean, if you got 7 million alumni,
Yeah, of course. But it's like when you follow. It's like when you watch when you follow high school sports. the high schools with the biggest enrollments are generally going to be the best team because they have the most, you're going to find better players out of a school of 4,000 than you are out of a school of 300.
Right.
And so these enormous schools have so many alumni, and this is really what's fueled, I think, the rise of the Big Ten in the last 5 years.
You've
Is
been
that
saying that.
Yeah, and I think that's what kind of leaped out to me, and I think Duke is kind of an outlier here.
St. John's too.
St. John's too, but St. John's is, New York City money. It's like the only New York City team, which is their.
Right.
So those are but that's it. It's like they're all large public schools, with the
That,
exception of Duke and St. John's. It's
how
it's
would you
amazing.
rank Houston?
Houston is Houston's public, aren't they? Or are they
Yeah,
private? Yeah,
they're
Houston.
public.
Yeah, Houston's a large school, but Houston also has a long basketball tradition. I mean, not long, but they got your other boy Guy Lewis, of the Fly Slamma Jamma era.
Right, right, right.
He was around. He was there for years. But they always had a good program, and it's so I kind of look at Houston as kind of a smaller big school.
I was
You
trying to
know,
see what their enrollment was because I have no idea.
no,
I
they're
bet,
they're
I
they're pretty
bet they're
big.
30,000.
Yeah, they're big, and also the alumni in Houston are likely to be related to the oil or the
Oh,
energy.
I underestimated, man. They got 49,000.
Yeah, and you also have energy and oil money
Yeah,
that are
yeah, yeah.
probably a
No,
part of
you're
the
right.
alumni
You're right.
base. So it doesn't surprise me either. That's really it's really interesting what I got out of it. But I think you hit on a really critical point, which is that the days of the Cinderella are over. Now,
Well,
what's really, again, not surprising is the television ratings of the NCAA tournament this time are some of the highest they've been in years and years and years. And I think that's because there's a lot of big glamour schools and people follow them.
you know what? I have not liked college basketball in a while. Have not followed it in several years. Several years. In part probably because we ain't no good. Or we're average. Let me say that. We're average.
We
Um,
have, but we have the leading scorer, Bruce Thornton. Yeah,
don't get me started.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I would say that the tournament's entertainment value has been pretty good. Like I've
for
watched
sure.
the games I've watched have been good games. Like aside from the bizarre ending of your game, the game was good, and there've been several good games. There've
hmm
been a few blowouts as you would expect,
hmm
but like I expect the Final Four to be fantastic. Like I expect those two matchups to be great.
Well, I think
Uh,
Michigan Arizona is going to be fantastic. Those are those,
so
but
I've been I'm not saying I'm going to watch college basketball next year, but I'll give it more of a pass than I have been. Now, this is a very off-topic question. With Duke at its 12 million, I was unimpressed with Cam Boozer. Meaning this perspective, he looks like a terrific college player, but I'm like translating to the NBA.
I
I
agree
didn't
with
really
you.
see it because he didn't look, and that's because the NBA is so athletic. Now maybe he's Julius Randle or maybe he's somebody else,
God,
but I
yeah,
was just like, I don't know. I don't see how that game translates. He's kind of like a post player in a league where they don't play the
yeah, and
post.
he's not that big.
See, I
So
went and looked it up. I said, well, maybe I don't. Maybe he's like 6'11".
no,
No, he's like 6'9". And I
yeah,
was like,
there's no
and he
way he's
doesn't look
six
like he
nine.
has
Yeah,
great hops.
yeah.
So he probably plays like a normal 6'9" guy. And I was
Well,
like,
well, you put me on to Darius Acuff at
right.
Arkansas. He's from Arkansas, right? If I recall,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, his game is going to be an NBA game. You
That's what
know,
I'm saying. His game
yeah.
looks like an NBA game.
And so you look at some of the players, who are likely to be in the top five. The guy from BYU is, he's a freak. I mean,
Right.
he's going to be great. Or I'd be surprised.
Right.
I think this Acuff guy is going to be, fantastic.
Right.
Peterson out of Texas, who knows? There's
Oh,
it's
Kansas.
I'm sorry, did I say Texas? Kansas,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Well, I told you I cannot draft a guy who's a self-admitted social anxiety loner. I'm sorry, antisocial loner.
mhm,
Those were his words describing
right.
himself. I can't draft that dude.
Yeah. But but I have the same reaction about Cam Boozer. Now, I also didn't think Cooper Flagg was going to be as good as Cooper Flagg was this year.
Okay.
Cooper Flagg
Oh, Cooper
is,
Flagg's a baller now,
oh my goodness, he's
and he
I'm
hadn't even
shocked by how good he is. Yeah.
and he hadn't even figured out how to shoot a three yet. So he'll go and spend all
Right.
off season
Right.
shooting a three, and in 3 years he'll be shooting 40%
Yeah.
from the three with
Yeah.
all the other stuff that he does, and he'll be unstoppable.
Yeah. Yeah. But now again, he's very different than Cam Boozer. But I had the same reaction with
Now, let me
Cam
give you an
Boozer.
interesting thought on Cam Boozer. This is just a thought. I have no idea, but you know, way back when the Bosa's were at Ohio State,
Hmm.
um, this point came up with somebody, I can't remember who, and he was saying you have to be very careful of great college players whose fathers played in their particular sport, meaning they're so advanced mentally and with their technique and their footwork because their fathers did it that they have an even bigger advantage in college and high school. He said when they get to the league, the advantage disappears a lot
Yeah.
because not everybody is
Yeah.
technically trained. But if you've been trained by an NBA player since you're 6 years old, at college, you know things that you have tricks of the trade that other kids just don't have because they haven't been exposed to it.
Hmm.
And he was talking about them as pass rushers. They go deep in their bag in college because most college guys got two moves. They got five. And they've perfected them because they've been doing them with their dad in the living room since they were 4 years old. So that's something else to keep in mind with Boozer that, he may be so technically efficient that his game shows up even better in college. So I'll be curious to see how he plays in the NBA. And maybe he'll be great, or maybe he'll be just a guy.
It's again, I mean, from what I see, I mean he'll be good in the NBA. I don't think he's going to be a star. He'll be a starter in the NBA, and I'm sure
Yeah, I mean he might be 16-10,
yeah,
but
something like that. Yeah.
and that's fine. But in the NBA, for when you get a lottery pick, you're hoping that you're getting somebody who's 27-14
Right, of
or
course.
26-8-8.
Okay. So now, just on college basketball, I also looked up to see who are the most highly paid coaches, not in the Sweet 16, but just in college basketball.
All right.
And so I wrote down the top four, and I
Now
would have
Danny
guessed
Hurley's got to be in there.
Danny Hurley is second.
Rick Pitino's got to be in there.
He is not in the top four, at least.
Wow,
Yeah,
really?
but he's
That,
he's in the top. He's like five, I think. He's right
that
around there. Yeah.
swarmy guy at Florida there,
Oh,
Golden.
Golden. No, he's not in there. So
Well, oh, my man at Arkansas has got to be in there.
yeah, he is. He's number three. Number one is when I tell you it's sort of hidden in plain sight. Bill Self from Kansas.
I was going to get to here. Where my guy Izzo, he's got to be up there.
No, he's not. And you know who's in the top? In his because he's at a private university, his salary is estimated.
Who's
Is
it?
John Shire from Duke.
Oh, I would have guessed Duke. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's again it goes to Kansas, UConn, Arkansas, and then the big private school that's the basketball power.
Yeah.
It all makes sense. It's all the reason I thought it was fascinating. It's all the NIL has transformed college athletics. This is one of the reasons I think Gonzaga
Mm.
will not. This is one of the reasons Gonzaga will not continue to do well long
They
term.
they missed their window.
Yeah,
They had a long window, but they didn't miss it.
and if you look at if you look at college football and college basketball, I mean, just look at the NCAA tournament this year. It was like the Big Ten was dominant in this tournament this year.
Oh yeah. You've been talking about that for a minute with the big state schools.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, Big Ten's about to take over.
Big Ten has
Football.
taken over. Yeah.
Because the Auburns and Vanderbilts and all those.
Well, right. I mean, I think what you see is Alabama. Again, you have to also look at the composition of the alumni base.
Right, and the
Alabama,
state.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, your southern universities are much poorer than
that's what I
and
mean.
Western.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so you look at Alabama can't compete now because their alumni base is not what the alumni bases is of the larger Big
No,
Ten
I
schools.
mean, that's a
Yeah,
great point. It's about the alumni base and just sheer numbers.
it's exactly right, and it's the yeah because the value. I hate to say this, but the value of a Michigan alumni is going to be greater than the value of an Alabama alumni.
Yeah,
And there's a lot more of them, and
yeah,
therefore, yeah. So
that's strictly a numbers game. Fascinating, interesting discussion. And see, that's what you get at the bottom line on sports. And that's why you should subscribe, rate, and review as soon as possible. Because who doesn't want more of this good stuff?
and 5 stars only. That's what we expect. Yeah.
Exactly. Let's move on to.
What's your bottom line? You got to give me a bottom
Oh,
line on this
I'm
one.
sorry. My bottom line is, hey, money talks, everything else walks, and this is a new landscape of college sports, not just basketball, but football and everything else. He who has the most dollars will be contending for the most championships.
Very well said. It's pay to play, and big universities are going to continue to dominate.
So moving on, I thought this was interesting because it's the opposite of what we usually talk about
Hmm.
in terms of salary cap space in the NFL. And the interesting thing about this is it's the teams with the most cap space pushed into the future. And why that's interesting is when you're pushing it into the future, that means you should be trying to win right now. Because if you picture cap space like a credit card, at some point you got to pay the bill. And so you're trying to buy the day, and I don't mind paying the bill later if I'm walking around with that Lombardi trophy. And so if you look at the top 5 teams, top 6 teams with money in the future, you look
Hmm.
at Philadelphia. Makes perfect sense. We trying to win right now. We got these 2 high-paid
Yeah.
receivers, A.J. Brown, Dante Smith. We got a quarterback, Jalen Hurts, at least for now.
Hmm.
We got a big-time running back, Saquon Barkley. We got offensive linemen making big money. We trying to win right now. And so that's how Howie does it. And I don't have any problem with that because it's all about winning, man. The
Yeah,
NFL
but
is a win today.
it is. But I think one of the subtleties of pushing the money out in the future that I think is important to consider is that it's based. So let's say you have a $20 million cap hit today.
Yeah.
Okay, in 2026. Okay, you can then and you decide, what, I want to push that 20 million to 2031. Okay, the percentage of 20 million that the
Mm,
percentage of your cap today that 20 million represents is going to be far greater than 20 million in 5 years. 20 million in 5 years won't even matter.
right.
Right. So I think a lot of it is just it's all based on the assumption that money's going to continue to go up at the same trajectory that it's gone up. And that essentially means that TV rights are going to go up at the same pace that's
Oh,
gone.
they're absolutely. And you know why one reason that they're doing that is it's it's a way to keep it moving and stay competitive. And the smartest. That's one of the reasons why somebody like Tua, you go, you know what, man, it ain't gonna work. Let's just take this $99 million cap hit.
Right.
And 5 years ago, they'd have thought you were crazy if you
Well,
were like, oh my
well,
god,
but the thing is that what's interesting about that is that the way Russell Wilson's contract was structured, it didn't really take into consideration pushing the stuff off in the future. So Denver had to just
right?
eat the cap money really quickly. Other contracts now contemplate this. So usually they're not nearly as big of a hit as you might think because of exactly the you know pushing everything out in the future. But anyway, but your point about these teams, if you're deferring money into the future, essentially means you're spending, you're trying to win today. And as you point out, Philadelphia, Cleveland, and then you got Detroit, I had up there, and then Dallas, Denver, and San Francisco. So the one that doesn't make sense to me is your Cleveland Browns. I guess they're my Cleveland Browns.
No, no, Cleveland Browns make no sense, and even the Cowboys don't make any sense because they're not close to winning. Like Detroit is close to winning. Denver can make a case that they're close to winning. San Francisco is always close to winning. Dallas is close to winning in its mind. It's not on the field
I,
because they got the worst defense in the league and they haven't done anything substantial to fix it this offseason,
Okay.
which means it may be close to the worst next year.
I think that Dallas, I think that, I mean, again, way off topic here, but Dallas in that division next year, the Eagles are going to be down. I think Washington was a fraud a couple of years ago. I just don't think they have a decent team. I think the Giants are going to be better, and I think Dallas is the best team in that division.
Okay. I'm not going to disagree with you, but you know what my response to that is? This is a Taylorism I've written over many of the years.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't write this. I used to say this on the radio all the time. That's a case of the skinniest fat guy.
That's right. No, I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
Because you're still, now remember, this is Dallas. This is not some other places. In Dallas, they ain't hanging no banners for winning the NFC
That's
East.
true. That's true.
So it's judged by how close are you to a title. And, I don't have enough. I got vaulted ceilings and I still can't go high enough to say how far they are from a title because their defense is atrocious.
Yeah.
But
by the way, I don't want to get off on Dallas, but I was just looking at that when I was considering this. Yeah.
Now, like Detroit, their window may have closed. They may have missed it because now they lost their coordinators, and now they lost it. They used to have a 2-back tandem that was great. Now one of the backs is gone, and that's what happens, man. You miss your window, brother. And
well, it's amazing because I think Detroit might be the fourth best team in their division, and if they were in Dallas's division, they would be the best team in that division by far.
Right.
Yeah. So that's your skinniest fat guy argument.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But you still got to get where you're trying to go. And it doesn't. Yeah, some roads are more difficult than others, but you still got to beat the best teams to get to the championship. So, however you want to do it, you still got to deal with certain teams to get there. And if you can't deal with them, it doesn't matter whether you won your division, your wild card. It doesn't matter. You got to beat them.
But I think the thing about winning, I think you're right about winning, but winning has so many different elements to it. You got to get great coaching, you got to get great players, but you also have to get a really good GM and a GM not just to find the players, but GM to structure the deals properly.
Here's what's most important to me, based on 30 years of covering the National Football League. You have to know. It sounds very elementary as a business owner. You and a guy who's run businesses, this. You have to understand what your identity is and your philosophy is.
Right. I agree with that.
So many of these teams, their identity and philosophy ebbs and flows with whoever the head coach is. Whereas if you look at the Steelers or you look at the Ravens and a couple other teams, they got a philosophy as an organization. And if you can figure out how to do that, you're much better off than every time we hire Taylor, we run this. Every time we hire Pink, we run that. Because just like the Cowboys, every time they hire a defense coordinator, they got to swap everything out because I need these guys to win.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 years later, hey, these parts don't fit. And it's a never-ending battle. If you got an organizational philosophy, you draft guys who fit our organizational philosophy.
Except I would argue though that I actually think because of the Steelers' philosophy, it's kind of capped how far they can go because it is not a modern philosophy and it's not going to win much.
My disagreement would be I don't know because they ain't no quarterback.
But that's the whole point, is that any team right now knows that if I don't get the quarterback right, I'm not going to be competitive. Right. They're still believing that I get a good defense and I get a good running game and I get a good line, which is all fair, but they've missed a quarterback for 10 years now.
Well, duh. Here's the problem. And this is every team's problem. And I used to tell people this till Mama would say, blue in the face. When people are like, oh, the Cowboys got to get rid of Dak Prescott. He stinks.
With who? Who are they going to replace him with?
That's my problem. Yeah. Once you get on the journey for a quarterback, you can be like Green Bay, and you go, wow, we got Aaron Rodgers and we got Jordan Love. Oh. You can be like Dallas. Hey, we went from Tony Romo to Dak Prescott. It's all good. Or you can be like the Jets And Jets ain't had a franchise quarterback since Joe Namath, man. I mean, you could be
Yeah.
like the Bears.
Yeah.
They just got one, they think. They
They
ain't
do.
had one in, don't call Jim McMahon a franchise quarterback.
Right.
So Buffalo, they went from Jim Kelly in 96 to Josh Allen
Like
in
8
like
years ago.
2017.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, they had Ben Roethlisberger for a decade and everything was great. Now they're on the journey and it's like, how, and their problem was kind of like the Cowboys. They never bit the bullet and said, you know what, let's just suck and go get a top 5 pick
Mm-hmm.
and see if we can find
Mm-hmm.
our quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and we've told you guys before, data shows if you want that dude at quarterback, you're probably going to find him. For sure, you got to find him in the first round.
Without
Yes, there are
question.
Tom Brady, Tony Romo outliers.
Yeah.
But if you want that guy, you got to find him in the first round. And above that, you really got to find him in the top 10. And so if you're not going to stink bad enough to get in the top 10, you got to you got to pray to the football guys for a blessing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's totally fair. I also look at it like, the point about identity is, I think, really important because if you see what Sean Payton did in Denver just in the few years that he's been there, he did a few things. One, he said, he literally said, our identity is going to be, tough football. And he looked up and he said, Russell Wilson's not the guy. Got rid of him, focused on getting Bo Nix, whether you like Bo Nix or not. If you look at his stats the first couple of years, not
Right,
too
right.
bad. And Bo Nix in Denver would have been in the Super Bowl had Bo Nix not been injured.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
so
he
yeah,
understands what he needs in the team, kind
right.
of like Bill Parcells did. And so you can go
Hmm.
replicate it everywhere you go
Right.
because you know exactly what
Right.
works. It's a matter. And when you know exactly what works, it only takes you a certain amount of time to acquire that. Now, everybody can't do that. Otherwise, everybody would.
Hmm.
But that's why Sean Payton is from Bill Parcells' tree, and that's why he understands it.
Yeah, it's kind of remarkable what he's done there.
But he got a quarterback.
He got a quarterback that suited him. He got a quarterback
Yeah.
that I don't know how successful he would have been almost anywhere else, but but it doesn't really matter. He landed where he
No,
landed.
no, that's
So,
it. And that for the bottom line for me, man, you push that cap space out, baby. You better pick up that trophy somewhere along the way, or at least compete for it.
yeah. But bottom line for me is I think this is about how a general manager is handling overall payroll and everything. And all of this is based on the assumption that the salary cap is going to continue to skyrocket in the future.
Right,
If it doesn't, these teams are going to be in big trouble.
right.
That
Now it's that time. It's your favorite time of the show, and we have a big disagreement coming that you don't know about the Ohio State Buckeyes and their lack of we didn't get no hardware this fall.
this winter sports at Ohio State, the big four, the women's basketball, men's basketball, women's hockey, and men's hockey. The women's team made it to the championship game and
Right,
lost to Wisconsin.
right.
Wisconsin and Ohio State women's hockey have played in the final each of the last 4 years. Did you know that?
No, no, I
Okay.
didn't.
Now
How many have we won?
say again.
How many have we won?
I think two. I think it's two out of the four.
Okay,
But
so
but
it's
still,
like
so Ohio State women made it all the way to the
yeah,
final, which is fantastic. Ohio State basketball and the legend of Bruce Thornton ended, I think, in the second round,
I think the basketball team did well to get to the tournament.
based on the talent that they had for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, uh,
Um,
and then the women's team kind of flamed out in the NCAA tournament as well. So it's
yeah, I
been
was a little disappointed, but Notre Dame's a good team. But you playing at the crib, you should win.
now Hannah Hidalgo, who's on Notre Dame, played not too far from where I live in New Jersey. And
Is that
now my,
right?
my daughter was a basketball player. They never actually played against each other, but she was an amazing high school player here.
Well, she's still an amazing player right now.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, you're not going to mention our pistol championship.
Oh, I didn't even. I thought that was a joke. There's a pistol
No, we
championship?
won the pistol championship.
What is? How do you?
We shot at a
what is
bunch
the
of
sport?
targets and we hit more targets than they did.
Oh, it's a shooting. It's a
Yeah,
shooting thing. Yeah,
it's
okay.
pistol
Yeah.
shooting. We rock. I think we've won like 6 or 7 in a row.
Well, hey, look, guns are, guns are prevalent in the Midwest of this country, so it's not surprising.
Uh, here's my deal. Here's my takeoff that may upset you. I was looking for some stuff about the pistol championship while I
Uh-huh.
talk. And I talked to a friend of mine about this. He has nothing to do with Ohio State, but he has the same opinion. And the opinion is, what fans have to always understand, especially if you go to a school like Ohio State, the championship is not your birthright. Like they're hard to win. And my goal is always, even though it can be very disappointing, my goal is always, are we competing for championships?
Mm-hmm.
Are we one of the teams you got to deal with to get where you're trying to go?
Mm-hmm.
And if we are, for me, that's good enough. Now, you want to win one every now and then, but they hard to win, man, because you got to have some luck. Your all-time leading scorers got to show up. I mean,
poor Bruce Thornton, yeah.
And I ain't mad at Bruce because I didn't even know his name 3 weeks ago. But guess what? If I didn't know his name, I wouldn't have been disappointed.
Right.
Instead,
right.
I was
That's
like,
fair.
it's a big game. It's TCU.
Yeah.
Let's do this thing.
Yeah.
10 points, dog.
Yeah.
I was disappointed.
I think that's totally fair. I do think it's and I do think that not that anybody cares, but I do think that the women's hockey team has been pretty amazing in the last 4 or 5 years.
Ohio State Pistol team continued its dynasty by winning its 6th consecutive and 7th overall since 2018 at the national championship in Columbia, Missouri. The Buckeyes dominated the competition with 6,716 points, beating runner-up Army and 3rd place Navy.
That's amazing.
That, people.
That is amazing. That's actually an incredible stat.
Yeah, baby.
All right. I will next time I'm in Columbus, and if there's
hey man, we need to get some pistol gear. We need
I'm gonna show up to a pistol. What is it? A duel, a tournament, a shooting match? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, a pistol. Yeah, it's the Pistol and Rifle Championships.
The Pistol and Rifle Championships. So now, what I will say in the Olympics. Did you ever watch the biathlon in the Olympics?
Hey, man, I covered the biathlon in 2010. I was a big fan of the biathlon.
I love the biathlon in the Olympics.
Hey, man, you got to get your heart rate. You got to walk. You got to lower your heart rate.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Hey.
I think it's so. I'm warming to the idea of them being pistol champions. I didn't even know they had a pistol team.
Hey, man, 6-time champions, baby.
There you go.
This is my suggestion.
Are you wearing your Ohio State pistol team shirt or not?
No, but my suggestion is if you want to get your kid a scholarship, start training him on a gun when he's about 3.
Always good to give children guns. Very good advice. Yeah. So
see, you can't beat that.
Yeah. Wow, Ohio State pistol stuff it's actually not surprising if you think about it. But ahead of Army and Navy.
That's what I'm telling you, man.
Maybe not so much Navy, but ahead of Army is pretty impressive.
There's a joke there, but I'm not going to tell it.
Yeah.
On that note, he's Jeremy Pink and Jean-Jacques Taylor. Thank you for hanging out with us on the Bottom Line of Sports, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.